Today, whether you're in WA, Queensland, Northern Territory, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's a bit of a holiday period. Taking time out to educate yourself in this kind of period is a little bit difficult, I suppose, because it tends to be the time where we take a bit of time off, we have a bit of a rest, we don't really necessarily want to get too much into the learning of things. But I've always found that this Christmas and New Year holiday period is ideal for learning new things because there's a lot less distractions going on. You don't have the emails coming in, you don't have the phone calls coming in. It's just that little bit more easy to work with. So I'll share my screen and we'll get underway. Let me just find the right thing because I've usually got a plethora of screens all around me, so it's a little bit easier to work with. Also, we're using the Q&A and the chat this morning, so feel free to answer ask some questions along the way, and I'll look over this screen over to my right, your left, and I'll be able to see those come up and then answer them as we're going through this particular session. We'll be using lots of examples during this session as well. So I'll be asking for your input towards the end, where we can find out a little bit more about what your business is, what you would like to achieve, and then we'll be able to get some suggestions about how I can suggest that you would write particular kinds of posts for your particular kind of business and the objectives you have in mind for those. Without further ado, let's share that screen. And we're off. So it's a bit of an art, it's a bit of a science. It's not necessarily a precise thing, and it will change from post to post, business to business, and all that. But while we get underway, I'll draw back to this guy, and I think he's an absolute miracle worker, Leo Burnett from the Burnett Agency, a massive advertising firm right around Australia and the world. And he simply says, make it simple, make it memorable, make it inviting to look at, and make it fun to read. Really simple principles you can go to. Now, these were for newspaper ads primarily, and magazine ads and billboards. He was very big on billboards, but the same principles apply to a billboard that apply to something like a social media post. You're still in that position where you're going by rapidly and you don't have a lot of time to read something. So small print is not going to work for you at all. This is presented by Business Station and the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program, as well as Regional Development Australia in Brisbane and Queensland, and Treaty Business Consulting for Darwin, where I'm usually based, but I'm actually in the Gold Coast at the moment. It'll also be available on YouTube for you to view again later on. Just look for either myself, my name's Dante St James, or Business Station, and you'll find this video then available to you. What we're going to look at today is some of the stuff you need to do before you start writing, and then we'll look at the writing itself. So one of the first things to look at is understanding where your customer is at. We call that their customer intent, where they're at in the life cycle towards coming from being completely unaware of who you are, moving then towards actually buying something from you, or ordering a service, or buying a product. We look at what the four main types of posts are and how you can use those to educate or inform or entertain or even pitch for sale. Different kinds of posts, again, at the different stages of the customer's life cycle. And we'll look at how some of these posts will differ dramatically from one platform to the next. LinkedIn is a very different beast to Instagram, which is also a very different beast to Facebook. So how do you then present those stories, those posts, in such a way that they lead towards what your objective is, whether it's a sale or whether it's just a brand awareness, or whether it's, to have people more aware of what the product is you do, or a cause that you are supporting, and then making sure that what you present actually matches that intent, both for you and for where the customer or the supporter is at. A bit of background on me, there's my education. I work with a lot of government programs now, including the ASBAS Digital Solutions Program, the NICE New Business Assistance Program, which is through the Australian government as well, and the Be Connected network, which is a way of bringing digital skills to older Australians so that they don't get left behind in the new digital economy. And also working with Google's Digital Springboard program right across Australia, and Boost with Facebook, which is helped me to be a Facebook lead trainer right across Australia as well. So that's been a really fun journey to be on. So the process of writing a post, we're not talking about the sit down at your computer, think about what you're going to write it, then measure it. We're not talking about that process. We're talking more about the process you go into for writing and preparing to write your posts. The first step is always about knowing what your audience's intent is and knowing where they're at. Now, depending on the platform you're at, depending on how educated an audience is on what it is you do, You may be very much at the very beginning of their cycle. They may be halfway through it where they know who you are and they're sort of considering you amongst other providers. Or it might be so far down that track, so far down that sales funnel that they know exactly who you are. They know what they want. They just need a way to buy. So knowing where that audience's intent, it does shape every decision you make about what you're going to write in a post. Then you choose the type of post you're going. Now, we're not talking necessarily a video post or a graphic post or a text post. We're talking about the type of post and what it sets out to achieve. So if you're setting out to inform, educate, entertain, or you're looking for a sale then and there. And then we look at writing and selecting those creative elements. So that's when you finally get to, am I doing a video? Am I doing a graphic? Am I doing a photo? Am I doing just text? And that's almost like the final step you take, because the writing, funnily enough, should come before the creative. Now, a lot of creative people go, oh no, I just want to do the photo. I want to do the photo first. I want to have my perfect video first, and then I'll just write something around that. The problem is videos don't make people buy things. They just get people's attention. The words are what sinks in the brain. So the video is very good for capturing that attention and maintaining it, whilst they then drink in what the information is, which is often in a written format. And the video is often not that point of that final purchase. The video is part of the brand recognition. It's part of the initial part of someone getting to know who you are and getting to know what your products and services are. Video is mighty, mighty powerful, but it's not necessarily at the conversion point of the customer's journey towards you. It's very much in that awareness, brand building point of it. And this will see a lot of TV ads for agencies and for different companies who are trying to give you some kind of a very, very cool picture of who they are, what they do, and what their message is and what they believe in. But when you look at like the very, very hardcore, what we call conversion ads, they're Harvey Norman. They go straight to a point that says, buy this, buy it this weekend, buy it now, save this, do this, you're going to miss out. So there's a whole technique involved in that, which we'll cover off. But first, how do you know what your audience's intent are? You got to know basically that your audience is split up into 3 different intents, I guess. You're not necessarily going to know what each individual person is at, but there's ways that you can point towards with your posts every one of those different stages of the intent. So the first intent is where we call awareness. Now, they're not intending to be aware of you. You're intending for them to be aware of you. So there's no desire for your products or services. They've had no intent to explore or purchase whatever it is you're selling or whatever it is you're offering. They've shown no interest whatsoever so far in what you do. So we need to make them aware. That's why it's called the awareness phase. We need to make them aware of what it is you do, who you are, and what your features and your benefits and all the things that someone would buy your stuff for. The second level of intent is what we call consideration. They know who you are. They know what you do. They know what you're about, but they're kind of shopping around, not ready for a purchase yet, not just yet. They may be, even in the awareness stage, someone could be an impulse buyer, but if you've got a high ticket, quite expensive product or service, then that sales process and that journey from awareness to conversion does take a lot longer. When you've got a very, if you're going to Wish, for instance, and you're looking at a $2 widget and you go, oh yeah, I want that, you'll buy that because there's not a lot of risk in $2. But there's a lot of risk in paying someone $3,000 a month for a coaching service or something like that. So the consideration is where, yes, I have a desire for what it is you do. You've got me, you've hooked me, I know what I wanted, but you're obviously not the only person that provides this. So I'm going to shop around a bit and I'm going to compare a bit. The products and the services to them are not in question. They want them. They're just in that process of shopping, but they're not going to make a snap decision on that yet. That's in the next stage called conversion. In the process of that shopping around, at some point they'll drop into the point where they confirm the pricing, they confirm the availability with you, they confirm finally whether this is something they want, because everybody is scared of buying something they're going to regret later. They're looking to buy something either now or very close to now. It's that point of conversion that we look and go, yes, this is definitely something I want. Now I've just got to go through the process of actually getting it. So when you're writing for awareness, you're writing very differently to what you may think. Awareness is appealing to the survive or thrive instincts of any human being. And this is a very, very common Madison Avenue 1960s advertising psychology thing. Survive and thrive are the 2 things we're looking for. Survive is appealing to the very basic needs of our customer. So for instance, if you're selling food, you appeal to the basis of food. It's appealing already because it's food, and food is a survival. Buying a home is also considered to be a survival. It also goes into the thrive area as well. But basic shelter, looking for a rental, looking to pay your bills, wanting to get your kids to school, wanting to make sure your kids are okay. You're appealing to the safety and the security and the shelter and the protection of your stuff and your people and your family and yourself. So things like, food, water, transport, employment, psychological well-being, health well-being, all those kind of things appeal very much to the survive mechanism of people. So when you're writing about the kind of products that you may do, which are all about health, well-being, and being a better survivor in life, then that's where you write specifically for that. How you write for that is an art to itself, particularly if you're selling essential things like that. But most of us are not really in that survive area. We're mostly sitting in the thrive area. We're selling products and services that appeal to aspirational intentions of who someone wants to be. We're appealing to that life that they'd like to live, that life where they'd be more relaxed, more chilled out, more capable of attacking the problems in life and overcoming them, more able to enjoy life, more able to be a participant in life rather than just a casual observer. We're looking at quality. These are where people appeal to the lifestyle factors of what we're selling, the status factors. So I want, I've got my survival house, but then that's the house over there that I really want. And we're looking at comfort. So we're going beyond surviving. We're going into getting some quality out of life. Now, most of us are probably sitting in that area. We're sitting in that area where we want amazing photographs of us, so we've got them for perpetuity, because that appeals to, the part of us that wants to be able to be proud of who we are. That's not a survival thing. That's a thriving thing. That's the ability for us to be more than just survivors in life. When you're writing for consideration, you're stepping out of those very basic level things, and you're setting into writing for those who are either price sensitive or those who are not price sensitive. Now, if you're writing for price sensitivity, you're using terms like low price, cheapest, value for money, and looking at very favorable comparisons between your product or service and your competitor's product or service. So you pick out those things, and you often see this with things like domain name sellers and web hosting providers and software providers, where they'll line up a table of contents of, here's our offer, here's their offer, here's another competitor's offer, and they'll concentrate and really double down on the things that they're very good at and show you how they very positively compare to what their competitors do. The whole point of that is to say, well, yes, I'm price sensitive and I'm going to get great. I'm going to all those things. And even if it's in price sensitivity, where it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to go for the cheapest, they're going to go for probably the best value for money. So if you're not the cheapest, then setting up those comparisons with your competitors, even if you're more expensive than them, can be very powerful, because it allows you to show, look, yes, we're $10 more, but look at all this. We do all this stuff that they don't do. Price sensitivity is written so that you won't have buyer's remorse afterwards. Like I said with the Wish thing, you could buy a $2 widget off Wish, not really regret it too much, because $2 doesn't go far and it's not a great risk. $3,000, on the other hand, carries a lot more risk with it. So the whole idea is, if you're writing towards those who are price sensitive, you're generally going to be a very price-based product. So you're going in at a value for money, budget conscious, economic point of view, rather than what we see in the non-price sensitive folks, which is then focusing less upon price. In fact, it doesn't focus on price at all, because your price is not cheap. Your price is not set to attract the bargain shopper. It's all about doubling down and really looking at what the solution is that you're offering, looking at the time that you'll save. So rather than, oh, yes, this is going to cost $3,000, but you're going to save all this time and add it up over the year. If you're paid $60 an hour, look at how much you're going to save in that. You're going to save $8,000 when you buy this $3,000 thing. It's all about looking at the advantage you have over your competitors and highlighting that. So you're writing to, what you do that your competitors don't. You're looking to writing to your solution to the problem that people have. You're not going in and saying, hey, this weekend, $79.95, usually $150. That's the price sensitive model. That's the Harvey Norman. That's the Joyce Main. That's the heavy retail discounting model, which is all about basically the getting the most amount of people into your store to get by the most amount of things to get them out at a very low margin. You're not those. You're the boutique. If you're a small business, you just cannot compete really on price. So you have to then compete upon the solutions you offer, the time you save, the advantages you have over the big guys who can outspend you and have a lower price than you. And you can concentrate on, rather than buyer's remorse, that great feeling you have when you think you've bought something excellent. And I get that, say, for instance, when I bought my little Rode microphone that I can take on the road with me. It's a great little thing. It cost me $150. It was about $75 more than I really had to spend to get something, but I feel really good about it because it's the right size, the right shape, the right quality, and I can take it almost anywhere with me because it's really light and really small. So I had that really great feeling of buying that thing, even though it wasn't the cheapest one out there. It was the one that solved my problem. It saves me time because it's like plug and play. Don't even have to set it up. It's got an advantage over the other products because it's actually the same size or smaller than them. And it's also a very high quality build of a product. So that's just a simple example. Is the microphone I'm using right in front of me today is one of those things that is for the non-price sensitive. And that's where most small businesses are going to sit with that. Then as we move over to writing for conversion, which is the final stage of that customer life cycle, from not knowing who you are through to knowing who you are and comparing you to other people, now to the point of going, I am going to buy. We're looking at writing towards FOMO, fear of missing out. We're writing towards things like the price goes up next week. You'll be missing out on being able to do all these amazing things if you don't get this thing. What you won't gain from missing out. So that you won't save time. You won't look great to your friends. You won't be relaxing on the beach this time next month if you don't take this offer up right now. So quite often at the point of conversion, you've gone, I've introduced you. I've allowed you now to compare me to everyone else. Now the rubber hits the road. I need you to make this decision to buy now, because if you don't, the price is going to go up on you. You're going to miss out on all this, and you're just going to sit there regretting that you didn't actually go ahead and buy it. Now, this might sound a little bit manipulative, and it kind of is. You're just going, well, this person clearly does know what they want. They want this thing. They're going to buy it from someone, so they might as well buy it from you, so you get the advantage of that. What you're then writing for is then that great feeling, that rush I told you about when I bought the microphone. I felt good about it. I feel good about it today. I tell everybody that the Rode mini USB microphone is a great thing for taking on the road to be doing webinars and Zoom calls. It's that feeling that you're writing towards someone knowing that they've made a great decision. You'll even see ads that even appear like that. You'll love the fact that you bought this microphone because it makes life so much easier when you're on the road. That could be a very well-written conversion ad being written, or a conversion post being written. Things that say that yep, I know that I've invested in a better life now. So that could be paying for, a 20 pack of yoga sessions at your local yoga asana, and just going, yep, I know I've invested in a better life and I feel good about it. Writing for that feel good, that certainty that you've made a good decision, letting people know that when they do make that decision, they've made a really good decision and they can feel about it, is a very powerful motivator. And then knowing that you're part of something special and you're part of a little exclusive club. And a lot of wine clubs will sort of go along this line, or people who are subscribing to something. It's like, you've made a great decision to do this because you'll be now part of an exclusive network of people who are there to support each other and to do something amazing with their lives. Or it could be a wine club, which is, you've made a great decision. You're now part of an exclusive circle of wine connoisseurs, and you'll learn even more about wine as we take you on a journey over the next 12 months of your subscription. That kind of stuff is getting people across the line from, here's something I'm aware of. I'm now aware of a wine club. Then the consideration is, I'm now going, well, this one's a little bit more expensive than these other wine clubs I've looked at. But, there's little things about this, like that feeling of knowing I'm in that better wine club, getting those better wines. I'm going to be part of a little crew that discusses this in a Facebook group. I feel really good about that. I'm part of a little crew. I'm part of a squad. And these, when you're writing for conversion, you're very much writing about both the fear of missing out and the joy of what you're about to make the decision to do. So it's different approaches. You might go for the fear of missing out, which is like, if you don't get this week, the price goes up and you'll regret it. or you know you're going to feel great when you've done this because you're part of a team that cares and loves wine as much as you do. Those feels are really what helps drag someone over the line, aside from if they're just price sensitive people and all they're going to do is just go for the lowest cost and that's it. So an example for something like this would be vegan donuts. I don't know if these donuts in the photo are actually vegan, but they looked delicious and I was very hungry at the time I was writing this webinar. If we were to write for the awareness stage of advertising or promoting on our Facebook page or our Instagram account about these vegan donuts, we say there is such a thing as a perfect vegan donut. Now that's in the awareness. You're making someone aware that there actually is such a thing as a really good vegan donut. You're going so far to say it is the perfect vegan donut. And those of us who are not vegan and have tasted a lot of vegan substitute foods, we go, oh, it's disgusting. But this is saying that there is such a thing as a really good, perfect vegan donut. Now, the consideration stage, when someone's weighing up all the things they want to buy with their hard-earned vegan dollars, that they go, well, the vegan donut that tastes the same and costs the same as a regular donut. So you're stating straight up that this tastes the same or comparably to a regular donut, and it also doesn't cost you any more than a regular donut. And you go, okay. Well, that compares all the other vegan donuts I've seen are like high-end boutique things that are going to cost me $5 a piece. You're saying I can get these for $3 for $5, just like I can at Donut King? I'm in. And then the conversion level of that will be, so someone who knows that you do the perfect vegan donut, they know that it costs the same as a regular donut, they know that it tastes delicious. They're now at that point where you're going to say, well, are they going to order a 6-pack of donuts online? But if they do it today, they get a second pack free. So quite often the conversion line will be some kind of offer saying that there is, you buy one, get one free, or buy a pack, get an extra one free. Or it could be buy one and get 10% off your next purchase. You see that a lot in online e-commerce stores and fashion stores and that, where you make one purchase now and you'll save a bit later. And you see this with retail bricks and mortar stores as well. I was shopping in a shop in Robina Shopping Centre here on the Gold Coast called Johnny Big. And as an incentive for me to buy more stuff from them, they give me, they point out on the docket, the receipt they give you is like, hey, if you buy anything within the next 30 days, you'll actually get an extra 25% off anything you buy in that purchase. Just because you just shop with us, we want to reward you, if you want to shop again. Now that's almost guaranteed that I'm going to do that. And I can do that at any shop of theirs. So before I come back to Darwin, where there is a store, I'm actually going to go within that 30 days and I'm going to purchase something else to save my 25%. It was a great conversion tool to get me to do something else. Now for them, they have just done something really good to me, which has created almost like a lifetime customer. So they'll say, we're willing to take that 25% hit on this next purchase, knowing that you've had such a good experience with this, you'll come back again and again and again. And twice a year when I do have to do some sort of clothes shopping, the first place I'm going to head to is Casuarina Square to go and see this particular retailer, because they've shown me, they've incentivized me, and they've shown me that they value me over a lifetime. But as you see, it's very different depending on where you are in the customer life cycle. Only a week ago, I didn't know that this place existed because I'd very rarely go into shopping centers. But my awareness was I walked past this place and I looked and went, a place for plus size men. That would be worth going and looking at. The consideration was then, as I was walking through the shopping center, I walked past 6 or 7 different menswear places. But this place that specifically was geared towards me, that I guaranteed I'm going to find my size in, and I'm not going to be looked at as some kind of freak in amongst a world of skinny models. It appealed to me. So in the consideration stage, I would become aware of that store. In the consideration stage, I walked past all these other stores and went, you know what, they're not going to have my size, but this place definitely will. The conversion was, they got me across the line as I walked in the door because, of certain values to do with the feeling. I knew I was going to be listened to because of another bigger guy that was actually in there serving. I knew that I was going to get what I wanted because they have all those customer service guarantees and money back guarantees. I knew it was going to be safe because there was COVID set up in there and the hand sanitizer, all that stuff. And I knew then that, and they told me that when you make a purchase, if you don't get a second purchase within 30 days, you'll save an additional 25%. They gave me an incentive to get in there and buy. And I did buy, and I spent a bit of money. We won't say how much, but let's just say that's the most I've spent on clothes in quite a while. So awareness, consideration, and conversion are incredibly important, but as you can see, you write a post very differently for each one of those stages. In awareness, you're suggesting an idea. You're not trying to sell anything yet. In consideration, you're saying, hey, we know you're aware of what we're doing. Here's some reasons why you should go ahead and do it. But you're not necessarily saying buy it now. But at the conversion stage, if your customer knows who you are, they know what you're all about, they know your features and benefits and the comparison with your competitors, then you're just looking at getting them across the line. Discounting isn't the only way to do that, mind you. Discounting is a very common way to do it and probably the easiest way to do it, but it's not the only way to do it. It can be just quite simply that you just say, if you buy it today, you'll be guaranteed to get it delivered by this time. Or if you buy this today, you're in an extremely like a rare group of people who will be able to join our Facebook group and be able to discuss plus size clothing or something like that. Then we look at life coaching as or any sort of coaching, any sort of, it could be anything from NLP practitioners, Reiki practitioners, massage therapists, anyone who works in a one-to-one, very personal space with clients and with customers. This is where you're also looking at awareness, consideration, and conversion. So let's take a quick look. In the awareness stage, the ad could be for a life coach being a better organized, less stressful, meaningful life that you'll love living. Isn't it a fantastic one-liner if you were a coach of some sort? A better organized, less stressful, meaningful life that you'll love living. I want to go to that coach. That sounds amazing. But of course, I'm not ready to fork out the $1,000 or even $300 a month it may take me to get someone to do that. So I was going, well, that's a really nice idea. I'll keep moving on with my life. Then I come across a post or an ad or something like that that then goes, well, now that I've got this idea in my head that won't go away, and I know that it's something I really like to do, I've been sort of shopping around a bit, been looking for a bit, looking at coaches, looking at alternative therapies, all that sort of thing. So now I'm at that point where I go, okay, what is the incentive for me to look further into this? Well, I can get in control of my life for the cost of a coffee a day. So $5 a day in coffee, roughly 30 days. So yeah, okay. So you're looking at about $300 a month. Okay, so I know what I'm up for now. So now I'm shopping around to see how much it's going to cost me with all these different services, therapies, coaching services, all that sort of thing. And I've got an idea in my head about roughly how much it's going to cost. And this particular post has set the tempo for that. It said that getting control of your life for the cost of a coffee a day. That's pretty cool. I can picture that. I can probably, if I want to save a bit of money, I can drop that coffee a day. Not that I buy coffee every day, but I got the idea. It's about $5, and then make a change and fork that money into something else. But at the conversion end, an example would be another month of the same or the first month of something better. So they're looking at that fear of missing out, toned down a little, and being more about the satisfaction of getting the result that you want out of life by saying, look, are you going to have another month of the same old crap that you always go through? Or is this the first step towards the first month of having something better in life? So you can see these are just examples that I've written down. And these things get much easier to do over time when you know where your customer's at, and knowing that sometimes in your posts that you're doing on Facebook, you're not always writing for the sale. You're not always writing for the, see this great video I made, see this great audio production I've just done, come buy it here. It's not always pushing that sale. Sometimes just going, it's about introducing a solution to a problem that someone has in the form of the awareness. So that could be, don't want to sit down and spend three days trying to put together all your family photos and do a beautiful presentation for that 50th anniversary. Don't do it then. Come to me. For the cost of a coffee a day for a month, I'll be able to do it all for you, and you'll save time, and it's not going to cost you a fortune. At the conversion end, it could be something like, still don't know where to start with making that video presentation. Well, take a step today to get that time back and get the result you want. So writing for where someone's at is supremely important. The issue is, though, that people who are visiting your page or who are following you are at different stages of that customer journey. Not everyone's coming in at awareness. Not everyone's coming in at conversion or consideration. They're at different levels. And this is where sometimes the paid option on things like Facebook and Instagram, at as little as $2, $3, $4, $5 a day, can make a big difference, because you're then sending particular messages. So in this case, a better organized, less stressful, meaningful life that you'll love living in the awareness stage is sent to people who are not necessarily aware of what you do, but they may have an interest. The consideration can be retargeted from those who have a demonstrated and proven interest in what you're doing. And by saying, well, getting control of your life for the cost of a coffee of a day, that's only sent to a certain cohort of people. And then conversion, the same thing. It's only sent to a certain level of people who have shown demonstrated interests and have already encountered your other posts or ads. A little harder to do that with organic posting, much, much easier to do that with paid stuff, because you can control who it is you're sending that to. With stuff that you're posting organically, you never know quite who's going to see it. And this is on any platform these days because they're all so big. That's pretty much all a pay for play environment. That said, you can still, if you're looking at a local audience, get away with paying anything between $1, $2, $3, and $5 a day, working about $150 a month, which as an investment in a small business is a lot cheaper than going with radio or television, isn't it? Now we move on to the types of posts. We're looking at the posts, and we're not talking about video, graphic, and text posts. We're looking at the type of post in terms of, I guess, well, what the outcome of that post is going to be. So the 4 types of posts are generally, there's an informational kind of post, which presents information of a general or even a specific nature to the audience you're trying to reach. The second one is the educational post. Quite often, this is where you educate your audience on something in which you have expertise, something you're very good at, something you're an expert at. That becomes something that you're educating people in. And the educational thing is very, very common across people who are in services rather than in selling products these days, but can be very, very powerful when you're selling products. If you're selling skincare products, educating people on why using organic materials in organic ingredients or using bush food inspired and infused ingredients is so important for you can be a powerful way to get people to become more aware of and consider your product in a whole different light. Also, educational stuff helps to lift people out of the price mentality and into the I'm getting this because I want to have status or I want something special. They're not buying on price alone. They're buying because they want what they think that this product is going to give them. It can be an entertaining post, and quite often you'll see that there are people who may have funny videos or inspirational videos or anything that gets attention and makes people go laughing, crying, being inspired, feeling empowered. All those sort of things are entertainment. So are you an entertainment post, or is your post all about generating a lead or a sale? Very, very different kinds of types of posts, and we'll have a look at what some of those are. The informational post tends to be of information of a local or universal nature. Is it about the local weather? Is it about the local happenings that are going on, about local events? Or is it about general information going on in the world? It's sharing a bit of information that someone may not otherwise have that's relevant to their life or relevant to their local area or the world that they live in. It can also be information that is of an industry interest. So that's particularly where you are business to business business. It always sounds, there needs to be a better term for that, a business to business business, a business that sells to other businesses perhaps. If you're in that particular industry, showing information shows your connection to that industry and positions you as a bit of an expert in the same way that an educational post would be. But an informational post would look something like these. So we've got Michelle's Kitchen. She's a little caterer, and she does very boutique, very low batch number catering jobs. So her first post will be something like, hey, Gold Coast, there's some nasty storm activity on the way, so we won't be able to open our outdoor dining tonight because you've got a dining area too. Stay safe. So she's informing you that there's a bit of storm activity. She's informing you that if you go to her little kitchen door cafe, you won't be able to dine outside tonight. And it's also informing you that you should stay safe because there is significant storms on their way. An informational one for this one, the lovely picture of the cumin. As saying that grinding your own spices preserves so much more of the aroma and flavor of a dish. That's a bit of information you probably don't know. And it says, did you know that cumin is actually ground from a seed? So it's not from a leaf, or it's not from, from a like a stem or a root. It's actually from a seed. So they go, okay, so I've learned today that cumin is ground from a seed. I've learned today that grinding your own spices preserves more of the aroma and flavor of a dish. And I'm probably learning something that's reading between the lines is that when Michelle makes stuff with cumin in it, she makes sure she grinds her own rather than buying pre-ground ingredients. So again, information being shared, which is within the context of where she is in the case of the Gold Coast storm activity, in terms of the industry she's in terms of information about a spice, and then information within the community, the very area that she lives in and operates her kitchen door in, saying councillors advise that parking in Wongala Street will be restricted to 1 hour from Monday. 2-hour parking is available at Seaview Mall though. So that's a bit of information very specific to her business. If you're coming to visit me, you'll only be able to stay for an hour because council have changed the parking rules. But if you park at the mall just down the street, you'll be able to stay there for 2 hours for free. So again, informational stuff that's not about sales. It's not about come on into my restaurant and get fresh ground cumin. Come on into my restaurant and sit inside. Come on into my restaurant and park for free at Seaview Mall. It's just saying that when you're doing all those things, this is information that might be useful to you. So this kind of stuff is really easy to do if you've got a local audience. If your audience is far more spread out across the country or across the world, this is a little bit harder to do, and you may want to go more into the sort of that middle one, that the cumin post, where you're more so giving information that's from your industry rather than information that's from your community. An educational post is something which has got helpful information that's related to the very thing that you do, or the industry you're in, or the job that you're doing, or the product you're selling. It's valuable on its own. Someone can walk away and do something with that information in your educational post, and it's actionable. People can literally do something with it and get some value out of it without having to deal with you any further. And this ties very much into Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, 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 right hook kind of mentality. I've got a bit more about that a little bit later on. So examples of this one would be Janine Moore, who's a life coach. 30 minutes of yoga a day has been shown to increase focus at work by up to 30% and reduce workplace sickness by almost 40%. So we're educating someone on the value of yoga. Now, those are just things that I made up. They're not real figures, but you look at that and go, okay, there is definitely some value to this. I feel good about the potential of joining a yoga asana, or I'm feeling good about taking on this particular discipline of yoga or this particular modality of yoga, then great. Just this can do that great thing for my life. I feel educated. I can make a better decision about yoga now. Janine Moore, who happens to also be a crypto coach, is saying not everyone realizes that Bitcoin isn't actually a physical coin. Images like this probably don't help either. Bitcoin is a virtual or cryptocurrency. Now, I could go to many, many people who don't realize that Bitcoin isn't these things. They think that, is this like some kind of coin you put it in and it gets read like a chip on a card or something like that? They don't realize this is just pictures of something that's just representing an idea, and Bitcoin is not any of these things. It's a virtual cryptocurrency that is not physical. So again, education in the thing. If Janine Moore's a crypto coach, she's helping to educate people with this post on what that actually is. Her product is a coach for crypto buying and selling. Then she's successfully shown that she's got some sort of expertise by going to the lowest common denominator and saying, actually, Bitcoin isn't a physical coin, it's an idea. And then Janine Moore, the life coach, she's a very busy girl, this one, saying that, did you know that 80% of Instagram users actively follow brands? This makes it one of the best platforms for promoting products and services. This is actually a real figure. So this is a little bit of information she's sharing because she's a bit of a life coach or a digital coach. And she's saying, well, I know this about Instagram, therefore I know something you don't. I'm therefore a page ahead of you on the Instagram of life. And so I can be trusted with my opinions. I can be trusted as a coach. And if you'd like to know more, you can always join my coaching program, or you can join in with a webinar that I'm running. So quite often, these are kind of posts that I will do on mine, is introducing a bit of information about something that I'm very closely associated with, that I work in, and that shows my expertise. It shows that I'm always thinking about this stuff. I'm always dealing with this stuff. I'm always reading about this stuff, which I am, always listening to podcasts, watching webinars, learning as much as I possibly can to make sure that I'm in a position to be the expert in the room when it comes to, you know, social media X or digital platform Y. Entertainment posts are posts that entertain or distract you to get some attention. They're not necessarily related to what you do, but they can be related to what you do. And quite often they're better placed if they are sort of related to what you do. They're a little bit of a break from the day. They're a bit of a break from the feed of you not feeling so serious about your topic, and you want to be having a little bit more fun with it. So some examples of that will be a little bit of science one from the Science Babe. So Janine's also a science babe, a crazy cake lady, and has a page called Live, Laugh, Love. The first one, just how many pencils can we poke through a bag of water before it bursts? See the messy result in this fun video. Now, there's nothing in there that's showing her necessarily to be an expert in pencil poking through bags of water. There's nothing necessarily in there that's showing that she is necessarily trying to sell you pencils or bags of water. She's just sharing something fun that is vaguely related to a scientific process or scientific method that she is known to be an expert in. So the fun side of what you do could be that. It could be if you're, I know we've got someone on this call right now who does a lot of drone footage. So yours could be what to do when your drone crashes in water, for instance, because I'm pretty sure you would have done that once or twice before, Bruce. Or you could be the crazy cake lady. Does a wedding cake have to be traditional? Here's 21 crazy, cool, and kooky cakes to light up your day of days. This is a really great one because this one allows you also to go, well, I can talk a lot more about this particular thing. I can talk a lot more about this particular topic in a fun way because I'm the crazy cake lady. And here's some crazy wedding cakes. And this is actually an example of a wedding cake I Googled and went, this would be an amazing looking wedding cake. It just looks... Hopefully it doesn't taste like noodles. I prefer it didn't. But imagine walking to a wedding and seeing a cake like that. It'd be amazing. And then the live, laugh, love one at the end is how many kittens does it take to take away all the stress of your Monday? 12. Follow the link to see every one of these little cuties. So it's a live, laugh, love page. So what they are doing is pretty much making you feel great about the live, laugh, love and about feeling good. So they've got 12 pictures of the cute little kittens that are going to make you feel great today. So in these cases, they're very much doing something that's related to what they are to do. It's the crazy cake lady. Of course, she's talking about crazy cakes. You've got the science babe, who's talking about a little scientific method. And live, laugh, love, which is talking all about how you can feel great and have a bit of a laugh and feel a bit of love at these cute little kitties. So that entertainment thing, none of these are got to do with selling what each of those people are trying to sell. Whatever the science babe is trying to sell, which is probably expertise, whatever the crazy cake lady is trying to sell, which could be cake toppers, or the live, laugh, love is trying to sell, which is mindfulness courses. In each one of those cases, they're presenting something that is vaguely related to what they do, but very entertaining and a good distraction for your day. And then finally, your sales are what I usually call this a business post. So it's directly related to your product or directly related to your service or directly related to what you're going to be making money out of. It's not vague. It's very much to the point about making a sale. It's giving offers. It's about presenting deals. It's about presenting specials. But most importantly, it's about presenting a call to action for someone to do something with your particular product or service. Example one, very high impact image of a guy who's shocked and confused and surprised. The Perth Health and Wealth Forum is saying, what? Just 24 hours left to get our early bird rate for Health and Wealth Forum General Mission VIP access. Hit the link and book now. So it's saying now, the call to action is hit the link and book now. It's saying you've only got 24 hours to get the early bird pricing. So you better hurry up and move your tushy and get in there. This way it's very, very clear what they're trying to do and what they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell those early bird tickets so they can guarantee their bookings and make sure they've got cash flow coming in for all the costs of their particular forum. Kakadu Blue is I've done a bit of work with in the Northern Territory. Just in, a batch of our original Australian blue cypress essential oil. Just a drop is all you need. Woody, camphor, and warm spice notes. So it's just all about a product. The call to action is, well, it's not really a very clear call to action. This is more of a saying it's just in. The call to action is inferred. So it's just in says, hey, they obviously run out. So I better get mine quickly now. Otherwise I may run out again before I get it. I like actually mixing this particular oil in with other oils. So it's just creates a very a woodiness that's not too strong, not like camphor would be. Your grandmother's old camphor wood chest she used to put knitted jumpers into to keep the moths away. This is a bit more of a fresh smell. It's very nice actually. And then Shmoo Shakes, which is a fake place that I've just made up. This month's new Shmoo is the Mean Girl Strawberry Bliss with candy, donuts, sour strips, cream, and sparkle topper. Limited time only. So it's very much about something they make, which is these over-the-top milkshakes. But it's also about a call to action, which is saying, get it now because it's only available for a limited time only. And it talks about nothing else but this particular strawberry flavored milkshake with candy all over it. That looks like a heart attack in a glass, doesn't it? That's just disgusting. So how then do all these posts, so we've got our eye around now of where customers are in the process and how you write very differently for them. We've come to what you want to achieve, whether you're doing an educational, informational, or entertaining or sales-based post. So we know that we're going to write slightly different for all those different things. We've seen a bunch of examples. Now we're going to look at how posts can differ quite significantly between different platforms. And one of those could be on Facebook, where you can go very comfortably between the awareness, consideration, and conversion stages of the customer journey by starting off something in the awareness stage being quite low on text, but very high on impact in the video and the graphics. It's all about making someone aware that you do a thing by demonstrating you do the thing, not necessarily telling them, but by demonstrating. The message needs to be very simple and clear, but you're not necessarily saying book now. You're not saying buy now. You're not saying learn more. You're just really just saying, I do a thing and isn't this amazing? They're not necessarily looking for someone to do something with that yet, but when they come to the point of needing that thing that you do, or having a requirement to have that thing that you do later on, then they're in a position to know that you are the provider who does that. The consideration stage could be a very strong first line statement or a hook that then is backed up with dot points. And you quite often see this in things that are trying to sell you maybe business coaching or an online course or something. They'll start with a first line hook, something like, some of our graduates make 6 figures within the first 30 days. Do you want to be one of those? Learn how to ... Dot point. It's very much about what you can gain, what the possibilities are, and what the features and benefits of this particular program can be. Now, these ones are kind of a lot of very amateur coaches and a lot of very amateur service people go straight for this. They don't spend time establishing any sort of credibility. They just go straight for the kill and say, here's why you should pick us, without considering that a lot of people are not in the position to even know what it is you do, let alone pick you over the others. And then in the conversion stage is where you can go in with offer a discount. Of course, it's not the only way you can do it. It can be just simply availability. You know, I've only got 10 places. If you don't get this today, chances are you're going to miss out. This is my final offer. This is a limited offer. This is your last chance to get this particular offer. This is your last chance to buy this before I have to order in a new lot that won't be here for 6 weeks. That kind of motivation that comes in is in the conversion stage. Now, how does this translate? It's very obvious to me how this translates to paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. How does it translate to organic posts? It's just simply saying that over a week, that not everything you do is going to be all about awareness. Not everything you do is going to be all about consideration. Not everything is going to be about conversion. But if you post 3 times a week, make one post be about awareness. And that can be an educational post. Did you know that you can't just build a shed without council approval? This beautiful footage of this shed could be yours, but you do have to go through the proper approval processes. You're educating someone that they need to go through a council approval stage, but you're also presenting a product which is very aspirational for a guy who lives on a rural block and wants to actually have a big shed to put his whatever in. And then your consideration post might be on Wednesday, where you're looking at, okay, we know you really want a shed. Now here's why you should choose our sheds. You're not saying to buy my shed, you're saying this is why you probably should choose our shed. There's an advantage to choosing us to build your shed. And the conversion layer then is all about what gets them across the line. So you go Monday as an awareness post, Tuesday is a consideration post, Thursday can be a conversion post. You can just move them all around however you like. Just bearing in mind though, the best way to do this is always through paid stuff. It sounds horrible to say, but there's no such thing as a free lunch on social media these days for business. So if you spend a little bit on that and you have something that's sort of, and going through a 3-stage sales funnel campaign on Facebook and Instagram is a whole other webinar on its own that we'll do in another time this month. But it is probably the most effective, quick working and reliable way of bringing people from a lack of awareness for who you are through to that point of being able to buy from you. Doing it through organic means, through just simply posting on a page or a group, is a very slow, very long-term way of doing it. It pays off in spades over a number of years, but it can take you 3 years to get someone from awareness through to conversion, just simply because they don't see your stuff coming up very often, unless it's pushed to them through a boost or through some sort of ad campaign. LinkedIn a little bit different. LinkedIn posts in the awareness stage can be much higher on text, because you're not necessarily posting as much as a business as you're posting as you, the person. My experience with LinkedIn is that video doesn't do very well. Simple graphics do a lot better than video, and text does a lot better than video. I do a post on LinkedIn, write about 300 words in a post, and it does like thousands of views, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8,000 views on that particular one. But if I do a graphic or a video, I'm lucky to get 100 views on it. It just doesn't work that way. Now, I've cultivated an audience that expects to see inspirational messages written in text from me, not videos. So that's part of the reason. But it's also part of it that because we're not looking for deals, we're not looking necessarily to be entertained on LinkedIn, then video is not quite as powerful as what it could be. You've also got a lot of tighter targeting. You know you're going for either business owners or people who are there to talk about or learn about business on LinkedIn. So making your post look like personal content in a way of like, I'm sharing a story about my workplace, I'm sharing a story about my business, I'm sharing a story about a customer that I might have dealt with or a situation I overcame, can be a powerful way to show your human side, but also endear people to you, making them aware of who you are and maybe also what you do. The consideration part is where you're producing things like, and this is where video comes in, testimonials and case studies and white papers and those sort of things that people can download, spend a bit of time on and go, huh, okay, so this guy does know what he's talking about. And conversion is where, just like on Facebook and anywhere else, you're looking at offers, but you also look at things like free trials. Have a free trial consultation with me. Come to my free webinar. Look at this discount I've got that's only going to be available on St. Patrick's Day, which is still quite a while away. So, make sure you look out for it, because you'll be able to get this significant discount on what I do. Again, LinkedIn has a paid thing. It's a bit more expensive than Facebook's. You're probably not going to get away with $5 a day. You probably need to look at about $10 a day to do that, really, about $330. Again, though, you've got a lot more control over who is seeing it. You can target each one of these particular stages of a campaign at a very specific kind of person. On the organic front, you're really always going to be looking at the awareness side. That said, I get a lot of conversions out of, for instance, webinars like this. If I post the idea that I'm an expert in this, yes, I'm a guru at that, yes, I know what I'm talking about with this other thing, that's all great and I do all that. But the minute that I post an event on LinkedIn, so if you're a coach or you're someone who's doing personal stuff or you're doing teaching or workshops or anything like that, LinkedIn's quite good because it has events. You can actually post events on there. And I get a far greater result for events that are promoted on LinkedIn than an event that's promoted on Facebook, funnily enough. And the reason for that being is I'm doing stuff for business. So that's where a lot of business people are spending their time learning, being inspired, and interacting with other businesses. So LinkedIn, very different beast to Facebook, but when it comes to the writing of posts, it's still in that awareness, consideration, conversion sort of channel. Instagram, a whole other beast again. It's all about conversion. Instagram's fast, furious, quick, flick, it's gone. Instagram's not very sticky. You're not going to see things stick around very much for a week, a month, or anything like that, unless you're someone who's always on there, and you'll see a few things repeated. Facebook, you'll see some things come back to haunt you. LinkedIn is very sticky. LinkedIn will stick around for a long time. You can post something 3 weeks ago that's got really good value, and I'm still getting likes notified through to me today. And that's a very real one, like a post literally from 3 weeks ago. I'm still getting likes on that today. So it's a lot more sticky. Instagram, it's here today, gone tomorrow, or rather here right now, gone in the next few minutes. So you're always in that conversion space. You're always in that space of going for the sale. So you're introducing the problem. Maybe in a sentence one could be having trouble keeping your phone dry. Sentence 2 is, here's my keep dry phone product. Sentence 3 is, you can buy it now online by clicking this link. So it's really, really simple, very short, very sharp. And you're basically repeating that message over and over, whether it's an ad or whether it's a post. You've got that same message come out all the time, albeit with different creative or slightly different text or slightly different graphics. So it could be a different video. You might have 13 videos with the same kind of message coming through for your particular product or your particular service. There's a relationship coach that operates out of Durham called Rachel. And Rachel has pretty much the same kind of message coming up all the time, but she just packages it a little bit differently all the time, but within a framework that's very familiar. So as you go over time with following her, you get a very, very good idea of who she is and what she does. And in that case, she's someone who is very, very good at promoting what it is she does without it feeling like it's in a terrible, horrible sort of way that you don't feel like it's being repeated over and over. Even though the message is the same, it's just slightly different variations on it, that she is able to present what she does over a period of time and do it in very short, sharp containers. She can do it through things like your like an Instagram reel, where she does something quite funny and quirky, but it's always going, here's the problem, here's something that I do that helps that, and here's how you can take advantage of it, without her necessarily coming across as high salesy at all. She's very, very good at it. If you actually want to follow her, you can follow her as the relationship coach. Her name is Rachel Jacoby. She's an awesome person, and certainly has started to master the art of marketing herself, particularly on Instagram. Very good. She follows another Instagram coach actually called Brianna Curl, or Bree Designs, BREE Designs. And if you want to follow an Instagram account that really shows you how to use Instagram, I suggest you follow Bree Designs, BREE Designs on Instagram. She's awesome, really great chick, lives in Melbourne now, used to be in Darwin, and has a really great following and really knows her stuff. So in a nutshell, before we wrap up, write for where the customer is at the point of their relationship with you. So if they're in that not knowing who you are, if they're in that, yes, they know who you are and what you do, and they're considering you amongst others, or if they're in that point of actually wanting to make a decision about coming on board with you or not, then write for that. If it's in an ad, that's really easy to do because you separate it all out. You go for the people who are in the top of the funnel, people who are in the middle funnel, people at the bottom of the funnel. It's nice and neat and tidy, but in organic posts, you can still do it. It's just going to take you a lot longer to get there, and you'll have to be very repetitive and very consistent over time with it. Then also write for the type of post you're trying to publish. If it's informational, make sure you write something that is informational. Don't turn it into a sales trick. If you're writing something educational about what it is your product does, or something that you do, or something you're an expert in, don't turn it into a sales trick. If it's entertaining, don't make it something that's also about sales. Just make it that's entertaining. All these things are getting people warmed up to you. All these things are things that are getting people used to you, and knowing that you're either a fun person, an approachable person, a person who's got lots of information that they can inform and educate you on, or that someone who's in the know about something before you can get to that sale. But if you get to the sale post, make it a sale post. Make it obvious it's a sale post, because by then, hopefully that person has warmed up to you. They know your expertise, they know who you are and what you do, and they understand where they're at. And then finally, write for the platform you're going to be on. So understand that Instagram is very different to LinkedIn, is very different to Facebook, is very different to TikTok, is very different to Google My Business. All these different platforms are very, very different approaches that you write for in very different ways. So follow the very best on those platforms you know of and see the subtlety. Now you've actually learnt all this, you're not going to read posts on other people's stuff ever the same again. You'll see, oh, I understand that. That's a sales post. Oh, that's an entertainment post. Oh, I get that one. That one's for someone who's in the consideration phase. Go through and actually have a look at the way that people use these things. So you'll get an idea then of how the best in the business are using these things to get their message across. Before I wrap up, this particular one will be shared on YouTube at the Business Station channel on YouTube, also at my own channel. So just look up my name on YouTube. I'll have this on probably in the next, give me about an hour and a half. I've got a good internet connection. It's not brilliant, but it's good. And I'll be able to sort of send that through to you. Otherwise, yeah, just if you miss out altogether and you don't know how to get all that stuff, it's probably the easiest way to get it. Let me know, and I'll hopefully try and send you a link to where I can share that particular exercise for you. If you do have any sort of questions at all, I'm just going to share my email address in. That's not how I spell my name. Haven't done a lot of typing. So I've been on holidays. There we go. You can send me an email. I'll be able to answer those questions for you or point you to in the direction of some sort of really great resources as well. But in the meantime, please enjoy your Monday, the 4th of January, and Happy New Year as well. I've completely forgot to wish you all a Happy New Year, but happy 2021. And thank you for taking some time out so early in the year in this holiday period to learn a bit more about how you can communicate better for your business, and hopefully take this on to have a lot more effective time on social media as someone who isn't just trying to always sell something, but someone who's trying to have an impact to educate or inform or entertain people, and then build up some sort of credibility and a personality that someone will feel safe and secure when it comes to tapping into your expertise or buying a product for you. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.